Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. Before we get into today's subject, I just want to show you a couple videos. These are both, I can't really call them campaign videos because they are not put out by the Trump campaign. They are put out by political action committees, Republicans who obviously support the Trump campaign, but they are not part of the campaign. They don't coordinate with it. But I wanted to show them, well, I should stop here for a second, just full disclosure in case this is the first time you're watching my vlogs. I'm a conservative. I support the Republicans. I'm not a Republican myself. I'm an independent, but I will be voting for Trump in November. So that is why I am showing these two particular Republican ads. Another good reason, though, is because the Democrats have the entire media pretty much behind them, behind Joe Biden. The difference between the media, the news sites, quote unquote news sites, and these Trump political action committees is that the political action committees, they admit that they're political action committees. The media, NBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, those are, for all practical purposes, especially CNN and MSNBC, they're, for all practical purposes, political action committees for the Democratic Party. They just deny it. So I'm going to show you these two ads. The first one is about the destruction of historical sites, especially the destruction of statues, and now the proposed destruction of all things, Mount Rushmore. This is a very good ad, so watch the ad and then come back to me. Welcome back. Very hard-hitting, very to-the-point ad. I would hope that the Trump campaign would put ads out like this. Now, before I go on to the next ad, which I have to set up for you, I just wanted to mention one more reason why I'm showing these campaign ads, and that is because if you, well, probably most of you, like me, you live in states that are either red or blue, so you may not be seeing these ads because obviously it makes no sense, for example, for Republicans to run ads in New York State. Maybe a few ads, but I would not expect them to put a lot of money and effort into New York because that is so overwhelmingly liberal that it doesn't make any sense to pay to display ads in New York. So people living in New York, I know when I was living in New York, I was not seeing the Republican ads, and now I suspect living in Tennessee, which is a red state, that I would not be seeing any Democratic ads. You don't need the Democratic ads. You can just, wherever you live, just turn on CNN and you get your Democratic ads, which is the entire network. But going on to the Republicans, I want to show you this second ad. I have to explain in case you haven't heard of them. The Lincoln Project is a political action committee, an anti-Trump political action committee. Even though it's a Republican committee, they're never Trumpers. So this is a political action committee founded by never Trumpers. I would even go as far as to say these are Republican, well, traditional Republicans, quote unquote traditional Republicans, but I would say, to be even more accurate, Republicans' elites. What this ad does is it explains exactly who the Lincoln Project is or what it is, and it makes a very good point that these people, they obviously hate Trump, but they don't just hate Trump, they hate us. Watch.
The so-called Lincoln Project attacking President Trump, they don't just hate him, they hate you.
The credulous boomer Rube demo that backs Donald Trump that wants to think that y'all elitists are dumb. My math and your reading.
Mocking average Americans, such a disgusting sight.
They're saying that tens of millions of Americans are stupid.
Have they looked in the mirror lately? These are the same disgraced consultants who ran the McCain and Romney campaigns into the ground, giving us 8 long years of Obama. And after watching their careers go up in flames, they've set up a Democrat PAC, a get-rich-quick scheme pushing Joe Biden for president. America pays the price. Higher taxes on the middle class, crushing regulations on small business, halting our economic recovery. If Biden wins, we lose. But what do they care? As long as they get rich. Cleft for Growth Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Welcome back. Now you know what the Lincoln Project is. What they are never Trump Republicans who think the same about us, about me, about you, that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, Democrats, think of me and of you. They obviously agree with Hillary that we're a bunch of, well, that we're a basket of deplorables, or as Obama says, that we're bitter clingers to guns and religion. They just, especially this really egregious Never Trumper, Rick Wilson, it's just obvious the way he speaks, not just what he says, but the way he says it. He holds us in total contempt. I would hope, I don't know if the campaign would show these ads, but I hope people see this because it lets us know what these people think about us, why we can't work with them. We'll just have to hope that Trump wins, and then these people, well, I guess they'll go even crazier than they already are if Trump wins. But enough about that. As long as we're talking about crazy people, I'm moving on now to the subject for today, which is, well, we've seen in Seattle, the mayor is finally dismantling this, well, it was Chaz, now it's CHOP, this autonomous zone that Antifa and these just radical rioters and leftists, they took over 6 square blocks of Seattle, and the Democratic, very liberal mayor, she let them get away with it until they turned up in front of her house, her own house. Now suddenly she's had a change of heart, which is a good preview of another subject I'll be talking about, the number of liberals who are buying guns now. They see this rioting happening around them, and they are getting, well, to use a liberal term, they're getting woke too. But we also have in New York, Mayor de Blasio, he is going to listen to the mob, and he is going to defund the police department by $1 billion, or maybe not defund, but reallocate the funds to, I guess, social workers is essentially what these other people would be, unarmed. I don't know what they do about crime. I guess they're just going to talk to the criminals and just tell them that, well, what you're doing, it's bad, shame on you, and the criminals will just drop their weapons and reform. I'm sure that's what's going to happen. But there are a bunch of people camped out in front of City Hall demanding this defunding of the police and other things too. And the mayor is just leaving them there. The mayor is not forcibly removing these people. And we get back to the question why the mayors of Seattle and of New York and other liberal cities are letting these fascists, that's what they are, these fascists, just run around free, run amok, and camp out and demonstrate and even riot and loot and take over entire portions of the city, at least as far as Seattle is concerned, or was concerned, because now Seattle is getting wise too. There are two basic reasons. Reason number one is because those mayors agree with these protesters, come rioters, come looters, come fascists. The mayors agree with what their cause is. That's why, for instance, the mayor, he wasn't really caving. In a way, he was caving to the mob about defunding the police, but it's something that he believes anyway in his heart that he should do. So he lets, or these mayors let these people just do what they do because, number one, as I said, they agree with them and they don't want to disagree with them. They don't want to argue with them. They could, though, say, I agree with your cause, but you can't be violent, you can't be violating the law and order comes first. They could do that, but they won't, which brings us to reason number two, which is that they are in denial. They are always accusing the right, conservatives, of violence. And yes, there are white supremacists, neo-Nazis, whatever, very few in number though, and they do sometimes commit violent acts. But I defy any liberal or conservative for that matter, or never Trumper, to show me an instance, just one example of hundreds of thousands of right-wingers demonstrating and looting and rioting and setting fires and taking over several city blocks of a city. I've never seen anything like that, but we are seeing that with these liberal mobs, and I firmly believe that these mayors, these liberal mayors, and the talking heads on MSNBC, CNN, etc., they don't want to admit it. They want to accuse us, the right, of being violent, but we can see that most of the violence, and we're again talking about rioting and looting and taking over entire city blocks, it's the left that is doing that, and it spoils their narrative. It just ruins their narrative, which is that it's we on the right who are the violent ones. They see this violence on the left, and as I said, they are in denial. They just won't admit it. They just, they go out and buy guns. They get woke, to use that liberal term. They go out and buy guns, but they don't admit that they are protecting themselves from the left, not from the right. And I guess I'll have to admit that I would really love it if you give me a thumbs up. If you like this video, share with anybody you think would also like it. Got any comments? Comment section below the video. You can also ask questions, suggest future topics, and you could subscribe. I love getting subscribers, but most of all, come back and see me again. I look forward to seeing all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.